These are 10 films to get you into art house cinema. So what exactly is art house cinema and what makes an art house film? एक art house film, it can be described as something that उसका main मकसद ये नहीं होता कि to make a lot of money in the box office or to gross millions and millions of dollars. Basically what an art house film is trying to do is it's trying to convey a set of ideas. The thing about art house films is that they're not made for mass appeal. मतलब उसको एक art house film बनाते हुए दिमाग में ये नहीं रखा जाता कि like it should have something for everyone, right? When you're making like a blockbuster or like a mainstream film, तो डायरेक्टर्स और जो भी प्रोड्यूसर्स वगैरह होते हैं वो पूरी कोशिश करते हैं कि वो उस फिल्म को अपीलिंग बनाएं टू एज मैनी पीपल एज पॉसिबल. एक आर्ट हाउस फिल्म का ये मकसद नहीं होता. इट्स नॉट रियली मेड फॉर मास अपील. बेसिकली ये दे आर यूजुअली इंडिपेंडेंट. द डायरेक्टर इज़ यूजुअली इन कंप्लीट कंट्रोल, कंप्लीट क्रिएटिव कंट्रोल ऑफ द फिल्म. पीछे कोई स्टूडियो या कोई एग्जीक्यूटिव डिक्टेट नहीं कर रहा होता कि इस मूवी में ये भी होना चाहिए और ये भी होना चाहिए या ये नहीं होना चाहिए. सारा कुछ मतलब completely uncensored creative control होता है, जिसकी वजह से art house films are usually pretty uncompromising. They're often experimental. They challenge the traditional structure of a film. Some of them are very politically charged and some of them can challenge the audience a lot. Today I'm going to be telling you about 10 films that can get you into art house cinema if you've never experienced something of the sort before. Number 10 on the list is Chungking Express, directed by Kar-wai. Chungking Express came out in 1994. If I had to categorize this film, I'd call it a drama probably. You can really call it a musical because the amount of times California Dreaming is played in this movie is like हर 2-3 मिनट बाद बज रहा होता है and I never get tired of it. It tells two stories. Each story is about a policeman, and both of these policemen are very lovesick. Both of them are going through some hard times, some breakups, and it just tells the story of their lives, like how they deal with it, how they cope with it, and some of the quirky characters that they meet in Hong Kong. I just fell in love with Wong Kar-wai and the way he shoots movies, I guess. He employs such weird techniques that really shouldn't work, but they do. His movies are so colorful, his characters are so weird and lovable in their own way. And honestly, they're very relatable. Stories told in this movie are very... when you look at them, they're very sad and very depressing kind of. And I don't know, whenever I watch this movie, I'm left with a very hopeful feeling. And I think that's what Wong Kar-wai intended when he made it. Even though you go through some hard times, things do get better eventually. It deals with concepts like loneliness and how you cope with it, and it's just... for a loner like me, it's pretty relatable. Number 9 on the list is The Seventh Seal. The Seventh Seal came out in 1957. It is a movie by the renowned director Ingmar Bergman. This was the first Bergman movie that I saw. I first saw it, I think, when I was in my freshman year at university. पहला semester था मेरा Nast University में, and I was not ready for this film. I thought it was kind of weird. I didn't like it at first, with repeated viewings I've really grown to appreciate it. The Seventh Seal is set in medieval times during the Black Plague, and it tells a story about a knight that is looking for answers related to very big philosophical themes such as life and death, etc. And while he's searching for these answers, death has approached him to take him to take him in, that his time is up. He tells him that his time is up. So he's searching for these answers while playing a game of chess with death.
Du spelar ju schack, inte sant?
Hur vet du det?
Ja. Jag har sett det på målningar och hört i visorna.
Ja, jag är verkligen en ganska skicklig schackspelare.
Du kan ändå inte vara skickligare än jag.
Varför vill du spela schack med mig?
Det är min sak.
Det har du rätt i.
Villkoret är att jag får leva så länge jag står dig emot. Spelar jag dig matt, förger du mig.
This concept alone was something that piqued my interest, and that is how I was introduced to Bergman. And I went and I watched it. I didn't like it the first time I saw it, but as I said before, I've really grown to love it now. Number 8 on the list is a film called Rashomon. Rashomon came out in 1950. It is directed by the legendary Japanese director Akira Kurosawa. And this was the movie that at the time when it came out, it was the film that put Japanese cinema on the map, right? It won several awards worldwide, and it showed the world that Japanese cinema was a force to be reckoned with. And when you look at it now, it was like a turning point in screenwriting history, because the screenplay was something revolutionary, something that had never been done before in the history of cinema. The plot of this movie is that an incident occurs, okay, and then the incident is being told from differing points of view, right? It is being recalled by different people, and since it's being told by different people, they have differing points of views and differing perspectives, and each story that is being told of the same incident is very different and contradictory to one another. So at the time that this came out, and even now, it is considered to be like a turning point in world cinema, and it is considered to be a very, very revolutionary film. I wanted to include this in my list of the films to get you into Japanese cinema, like, and I just couldn't decide between the many revolutionary movies that Akira Kurosawa had directed. Please go check it out. Number 7 on the list is a movie called Stalker. Stalker is a movie that came out in 1979. It is a Russian movie directed by the legendary Russian director Andrei Tarkovsky. How do I describe this film? It's a science fiction film. It's a very slow-paced film. It really takes its time with the ideas that it presents. The basic premise of this movie is that there is a mysterious zone. It's kept very vague, like why this zone is closed off and forbidden. Some of it point to like radioactive causes or something. Like, and the thing is that this zone is like heavily protected and forbidden for normal people to go through. It's protected by, like, I guess you could call it the government. And there are these people called stalkers who are like very familiar with the inner workings of that zone, right? And the thing is that somewhere in this zone there is a room that grants wishes, okay? And stalkers are the people who people pay to get them to that room safely, because like they know that stalkers know everything about the zone, so they basically act as guides for people to get them into the zone and into the room that grants wishes. Now when you look at that premise, the thing that immediately pops into your head is, okay, the zone is very dangerous. Maybe there's some mystery about what's so dangerous about the zone, what will attack the people who go into it, stuff like that. Lekin the movie goes in a very different direction. There is definitely, throughout the movie, there is a sense of tension of like what will happen to those people. Will they get to the room? What will they ask for when they get to the room? Like, in the movie basically subverses this idea and uses it to portray several different ideas of like human consciousness and how humans are selfish in their desires and their wants, and what they get, and the lengths that they are willing to go to achieve those desires. It is a brilliant film that just destroyed me when I first saw it. I was just so impressed with this film. It is beautifully shot, like the cinematography is amazing in this film. Like it is slow, it is so slow and so meditative. It almost like puts you in a trance. I am just so heavily, I guess you could say, inspired or so touched by this film. Just please go watch it. It is a marvel of Russian cinema. Number 6 on the list is a movie called Bicycle Thieves. Bicycle Thieves is an Italian film that came out in 1948. It's basically a part of the Italian neo-realism movement. It was one of the, like, basically when you think of the Italian neo-realism movement, you think of Bicycle Thieves. It is one of the movies that everybody recommends to somebody who's trying to get into, films of that era. The films of the Italian neo-realism movement were usually categorized by really realistic premises. They basically told the stories of poor working class men and their families, what they would do to survive, how would they live their lives. These movies were usually shot on location. There weren't any sets that were built for the movies. They were shot on location, and they usually included non-actors in the main roles. They portrayed a very accurate picture of what life was like in Italy post World War II. Bicycle Thieves is simply about a person who is trying to get by and support his family through any means that he can. I won't tell you too much about the story, but the story revolves around a man who gets a job to support his family, and that job requires him to have a bicycle. So what happens is that bicycle is stolen. What happens after that theft is basically what's shown in the movie. The first time I saw it, I was just so taken aback by how the helplessness of the character that it's palpable when you watch this movie. You can really feel how desperate and helpless the protagonist feels, and it is just a very sad and a very touching movie, and I'd really recommend it.